Good morning. Hopefully everybody's having a fantastic morning. Today is Thursday, May the 7th. We're going to take a look at Bitcoin. We're going to take a look at a few other things. As you well know, Bitcoin has been nicely bullish since the beginning of April. Going into the first part of May, tested the 200-day exponential moving average, which is this dotted purple line. The 200-day simple is just above it too, so you've got both of them here. The 200's in red, purple's the 200's EMA. This is why Bitcoin is most likely pulling back. You also have a little bit of overboughtness here on the daily time frame, so a lot of reasons to probably not try to be a buyer here. If you missed out, say, on the 67K bid that I've been talking about, or where I started accumulating at, well, you're going to have to wait until it pulls back a little bit, I guess. It could pull back here, right? There's a lot of resistance here. You got a lot of angry bears out there that have literally been shorting this thing for probably a good 5 weeks now, and their accounts are looking rather dodgy. So they're praying to the trading gods that this thing finally tops out and rolls over. You know what I mean? So yeah, trying to get long right here may work out, it may not. Be careful. I don't like it for a short. I'm just going to tell you right off the bat, I don't like it for a short. And the reason is because you are still paying funding rates. You're paying funding rates exorbitantly. So essentially what you need in order to make money on the shorts is, because the longs are being paid, you need a big, fast move lower. None of this 3-day stuff like this, right? This is not a big, fast move. Now, you can make a little bit of money on scalps, but like a long-term trade, you're going to need a big, long move. So, yeah, I mean, my favorite place to put that short on would have been February's high. And obviously February's high wasn't enough supply there, so it needed to go a little bit higher. Yeah, we anticipated that it would pull back from the 200-day on the first retest. Once you started the bear market back in October, once you lost that, this is the first time that you've retested it. So it's a good profit-taking area, and that in itself could help with a couple-day rollover. I think if you're going to short something, you should short Fartcoin. And the reason is simple. It's a lot like it's a lot. It's not a lot more bullish as you're not testing the 200 yet. You're getting closer to the yearly open. There's not a lot of people trading it, and the sellers are getting paid on the funding rate. So, I mean, the market itself is bullish. A lot of the crypto markets are. So trying to short, it's not been the trade. Okay, so that's the way I feel about it. I did look at coin because we took a long on Nvidia yesterday, and obviously, boom, that trade worked out. So I'm looking for a stock day trade here. I like the 5-minute chart for a short on coin. I don't like the higher time frame charts on coin for a short. As you can see here, the 8 hours literally been testing the 21 for many sessions here in a row. So yeah, I think it's at support here, and it's not quite a long though. On the 4 hour, it looks like it could be a long, but on the 4 hour, it also looks like it's trying to break down. Like, this is your support clearly right in here. So you almost need a breakdown first before you could really put on a good looking short here. The 8 hour, because the 200 is above price, does kind of look good. So, I mean, if you were wanting to put on a short, I guess if 199.88 were to hold as resistance, you could try to mitigate your risk right there. Take profit would be right here at 194.70. Be about a 2.5% move. That's typically what we're looking for in a day trade scalp. Tesla's too bullish. And let's go take a look at Circle real fast. Circle's too bullish. Yeah, Circle's too bullish. Now, there is no short to be had on Circle. There really isn't a long trade to be had on it either. I don't like the setup. NVIDIA gave us an absolute chef's kiss setup yesterday. We're going to go over that in depth. And this way you guys know what I'm looking for. This way you can focus mostly on these kind of trades. And then, you know, they'll work out more frequently than just taking random trades here and there, if you will. But if we pull up the moving averages again, you can see how the NVIDIA had been testing the 21 exponential, the 21-day exponential moving average for multiple days. And then we did a live stream on Tuesday, and I essentially said, let's wait for NVIDIA to close today. If it closes the day out red, or, you know, under the 21, we could buy it down there. Well, obviously, I did not take that trade. I missed it, so I had to take it yesterday during the open. But it was a much better trade to wait on this one. Either way, the trade would have been beautifully, worked out beautifully and flawless. But, I mean, I guess it wouldn't have really mattered. I don't know if you made extra lows or not compared to Tuesday's low. But that's where you would have been mitigating risk if you were trading the futures. And you can see right here in the middle of the night, or no, that's actually at the close, sorry, 1600 hours. You did get that wick under the low. That would have been the point at which you put on the long. That's typically what we're looking for. But that's assuming it's going to be a trap and all that. If you waited until yesterday, you knew it was a trap. You already knew it was a trap because here's all of Tuesday's range. Very small range day. Pre-market, you were trading above the prior day's high. So that lets you know right there that it was a potential. This prior day, Tuesday, was a bear trap. So we bought on this pullback right here, on this 4-hour correction. That was at the open. And I'll talk about the fib in just a second. Just let me finish with the long here. On that 5-minute wick right there, that's when we got long. We were just looking for a pullback to get long. So when it pulled back, we bought it. I was looking for it to go a little bit deeper. As you can see my alert there, it did not want to go deeper. So we had to chase it up into 200. And that's essentially where I got long. $200 even is my entry. And it worked out. I had a take profit set at 208 because I was under positioned. I did not have on a full size position. So I had to let it stretch, or I had to hope essentially that it stretched out a little bit more. Like I said, you're looking for about a 2.5% move. If you go for 2.5, it covers the fees essentially. Yeah, that's what we're looking for. That's always about where we want to get out on a big mover or a big stock like this, because NVIDIA moves a lot under 4%, right? So you have a lot of under 4% days. You don't want to be trying to get long NVIDIA and looking for a 12 or 15% rally, because that rarely ever happens. But yeah, that's what happened. It worked out pretty good. I would continue to have a bullish bias on NVIDIA. So now, what are we looking at? Why is there a Fibonacci retracement on the chart? Well, because I went out to the weekly time frame, looked at what we had, You've got a bearish engulfing candle here last week. You made fresh all-time highs and then rejected and took out the prior week's low, but didn't close under it. It doesn't matter. The close doesn't really matter because you traded under that low and took out the low. That means it is a bearish engulfing. You took out the high, you took out the low, the prior candle. That's the exact definition of an engulfing candle, or an outside day, or an outside week, outside range candle. So basically, if the bears are legit in control here, then they would most likely be looking for short entries right in this area. All right, this whole block from the 50% retracement all the way up to the 786, literally anywhere in there, your bears are going to be looking for their entries for downside continuation. And right here is where I would be looking for that short if I had a short side bias. I don't think bearish engulfing candles in bull markets are good signals. Bearish engulfing candles in bear markets are great signals. For instance, if you gander right over here to this one right here, weren't really in a bear market here, but you made fresh all-time highs and then dropped back down towards the yearly low. You had 2 weeks, 3 weeks actually of a correction or a corrective move here, and then boom, 2 weeks of downside. So this isn't really a bear market, but it had pulled back already. You see this right in here? So basically on the S&P 500, what constitutes a bear market is a 20% correction. If you get a correction that goes down to 20%, you've got a bear market. That's why I said bearish engulfing candles in bear markets typically works out better, or not even that they work out more often, just they are better signals in terms of looking for a short. So when we got this bearish engulfing, we had a bear market. That's a better signal to look for shorts than a bearish engulfing in a bull market. Not really great signals in my opinion. They're buying opportunities, because once a market gets going to the upside and volatility dries out, your markets are going to slowly grind higher over time. It's just the way they work. You've got order flow that is constantly coming in for the bid based on 401ks and things like that. It's called passive order flow or passive investing. That is what keeps these markets moving up and to the right. In America, we have a lot of people who are employed and they have 401ks, and their 401ks take a percentage of their paycheck every week and go automatically into, said investment fund. And then those funds distribute those funds into the stock market. So that's why passive investing and bullish order flow is typically look for upside continuation. But yeah, I mean, you do have a bear signal there, I guess. If that's what you look for to get bearish, you do kind of sort of have that. So it will be important for Nvidia to get above last week's open, and if it could break out above last week's high, then you have a full-on fresh all-time high. So I think we're positioned just fine for that. I took profits on the trade. It was just a day trade, a scalp setup. So I wasn't really looking for the continuation trade on it. But yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens. Yesterday was a really good day. As you can see, it broke out of this 3-day range. Bam! And that swing high, excuse me, is under the midpoint of this candle. So basically, wherever your resistance level is, if it's at or below the midpoint of the breakout candle, it's a legit breakout. That's why it's like that, because it required more volume to break out above the resistance. That's why it looks like that. So a lot of older heads, like traders that have been trading for a long, long time, like since the 80s, 70s, 80s, those guys look for these kind of candles to literally identify support and resistance. Pretty good stuff. Pretty good stuff. But yeah, so because of that, I wouldn't have a short side bias today. I would anticipate upside continuation today. And as long as you're above this swing right here, it's probably looking for higher prices. But I mean, anything can happen in the market. That's what makes it a market. So my bias on Bitcoin today is, my bias is bullish as long as the dollar is bearish. So essentially, dollar is what is controlling my Bitcoin bias right now. So if you're not aware, let me clear this frog out. If you're not aware, Michael Saylor sold some Bitcoin yesterday and it broke the MFing internet. Literally broke the internet, because Michael Saylor said he's never going to sell, ever. But during an earnings call, he said he had to sell. Now, there are a lot of perma bull YouTube videos out there about why that's not going to stop price. I got bad news for those perma bulls out there. If Michael Saylor is selling, why? I mean, why would he be doing that? To take profits in, I could see that on the near term bids, but what about all the bids prior to that? It just doesn't make sense that he would do that or publicly say that. I don't know. It just seems strange to me. He's not going to be selling enough to really make a difference. Like, he's not going to just go out there and drop $8 billion worth of Bitcoin on the open market. If there's accumulation, I don't remember the exact terminology that he used, but it was like inoculate, I think is the word he used. We're going to sell a little bit of Bitcoin to inoculate the market or whatever. Yeah, market's inoculated. It's pretty much not doing anything. It's fine. It's in recovery at this point. So the inoculation probably should have happened once the disease was contracted, not after the body's already pretty much getting healthy. I'm not a doctor, though. I'm not sure if that's the proper way to inoculate a patient, but it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Obviously, Bitcoin didn't sell off hard over that news yesterday, and it would have, in my opinion. So what I would assume is happening here is just a whole lot of profit taking at the 200-day exponential. You're obviously going to have new short sellers jumping on it because it's testing the 200-day exponential. The whole world knows that Bitcoin is testing the 200-day exponential. The whole world. Everybody knows it. Every algorithm out there has already executed short positions if they were going to, and if they didn't yet, they will this morning, right? So, I mean, I don't have a problem with shorting Bitcoin. Just know that you're shorting a market that is bullish. And I don't mean that in terms of the low is in. I just mean for this week's range. Order flow for this week was bullish, is bullish. You're holding support at the weekly VWAP, the intra-week VWAP. So at the very least, like right here wouldn't be the place to short. The place to short, in my opinion, for a better signal would be if you lose that and then retest it on the bottom side back up into it. That would be a better short. And it's late week. So, I mean, the weekly range is pretty much in. If you look at this, like the weeks have been very small ranges. And that's also typical for a bull market. It's because volatility is gone. The volatility has left the building. You need volatility. When the shorts are in control of the market, that's when volatility is elevated. When the longs are in control of a market, volatility goes away. It gets sucked out. And that's essentially what's happened. So there are a lot more bullish signs than bearish signs right now. And then if you take into account the fact that oil also topped out, rolled over, gave back every bit of that big bullish move that it got on Wednesday of last week during prior to the FOMC meeting. Because oil was literally breaking out and ripping all day that Wednesday until 2 o'clock when we went into that meeting, and then it still ripped after that. So oil was pretty much bullish all day. That day, you gave it all back yesterday. Or Monday, whenever it broke down. Wednesday, sorry. Oh, I had a short on up here, and obviously that trade made some money. So, been a good week. Been a real good week. I'm not going to put on a short on oil right here. Yesterday would have been a better trade for a short on oil. As you can clearly see, it would have been late yesterday, not early. If you put on a short early yesterday morning during the New York session, you're probably safe because right here is your 9 and 10 o'clock candles. So if you're short from anywhere in here, you're good, I think, for now. At least it's breaking down and rolling and trending lower, right? I don't know if you'll be good today. Today it could spike and get back above that swing high, but at least for now you're in good shape. So I definitely would not be wanting to put on a short here. You're trading at the day low. At the day low. Right there is your daily low. So the best place to look for shorts are going to be as close to the open or high as possible. Not at the low. Because if you get in short at the low, you need a much larger breakdown move in order to just get filled on a take profit. So, yeah, I mean, it just makes sense that it's not a good sell here. It's not a good buy either. You know what I mean? You never want to buy into that much downside momentum. So the only thing that I could even take a chance on a short would be Fartcoin or Pingu today. Pingu has bearish deltas, and you are currently testing the 4-hour 50 on the RSI. You are also doing what I said would be a better trade on Bitcoin. If you look at the weekly VWAP right here, you've already broken down under the weekly VWAP. You tested it as support yesterday evening. First thing today, boom, down. So clearly, right here is a good place to look for the short, or if you get a brief spike above this and a rejection. So either one of these two levels would be a decent spot to look for that short. You have deltas on your side. You do not have the point of control on your side. It's okay that the point of control isn't on your side. Yeah, I mean, it's okay. I would like it a lot better if it was on my side. It's just something I look for. So, but yeah, I mean, could I short this? Yeah, I could. Absolutely. And then over here on Fartcoin, you can see that the deltas are neutral. So not so good there. I was awake during the London session this morning, so I actually did try a short on this already. And that got stopped out, obviously, with that wick right there. So I'm not loving the short on Fartcoin. Something else that I've noticed on Bitcoin also is today, specifically, your point of control is more on the bottom edge of the range, not the top. And in yesterday's POC as well, more towards the bottom side of the range. So that could be taken a couple different ways. It could be taken as your longs were trying to buy it yesterday and this morning. And that's not so good, because if we look at what Bitcoin had been doing all week going into that 200 test, the shorts were controlling the market all day. But Bitcoin kept breaking out to the upside, right? So Your sellers are going to jump on the high of day looking for that short to work. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. And then boom, it breaks out, stops them out. Same thing. You get a move up. Sellers jump on it, try to short the high of day. They're holding, and then boom, they get stopped out. And then the next day, same thing. Sellers jumping on the high of day. It looks like they're going to get their move here because of a fake news headline comes out, and then boom, they get stopped out. So you see a repeating pattern. Now it's like the sellers aren't. Now, some people would take this as no, people are buying the top of the market, right? Instead of sellers selling the top, you got people buying the tops, because in a bull market, investors do buy high and try for the opportunity to sell higher later on. And now the sellers are in control of the market because your POC is moving lower. Hey, whatever floats your boat, basically they both mean the same thing. You do have a potential topping formation here. No matter how you look at it, it does look like the sellers are a little bit more aggressive than the buyers are today. And the good thing about deltas is we can see if that is true or not. And that is true. Sellers are a little bit more aggressive here than the buyers as you're below the neutral line. Now, the buyers can obviously step up and break this above and be more positive and close out the day positive. Obviously, that can happen. But I mean, at least now the sellers can say, at least we have a lower day high and a lower day low. You know what I mean? They weren't able to say that pretty much at all last week or going into this week, because this week isn't over yet. But at least now you have a lower high, lower low. So if that is going to continue, you can see how they would be more prone to short today. So just be careful if you're a Bitcoin bull today. You should have been buying a long time ago, not so much today. Next place that I'll be interested in buying will be a 4-hour 200 retest. So a 200 exponential moving average retest on the 4-hour chart. It's going to also line up pretty damn good, with the daily 21. But right in there's your 400, 76.0. So any pullback into that area, I would be anticipating that to be the pullback zone or where buyers stick up again. And I mean, I don't know that they will. It's just the trend right now. The trend is buy low, sell high. And that seems to be working. So when you're looking at trends, instead of, just automatically putting your own bias on a chart, you can just judge by the trend. So I watched a video, a really cool video. It has nothing to do with trading at all, but in a way it has everything to do with trading. When I say that traders and investors are operating on probabilities, well, to a newer trader, they might understand what the definition of the word probability means. However, they don't really know the proper way to essentially come to the conclusion that is the probability. So the video that I watched yesterday, a guy is literally, he used to work for Google, very intelligent guy, coder, software writer, engineer, whatever, all of that probably. Worked for Google, had a very good career, made enough money to retire. Now he's a young man, has a YouTube channel. He does a bunch of cool shit with a lot of code and stuff, right? I don't remember his name. But anyway, he was taking Meta glasses and iPhone data and essentially building a tracking system, kind of like what Endural has and sells to the military. These goggles or glasses that they put on, it kind of, so like, if you're in Overwatch, you're a soldier in Overwatch, and you've got your 3 men are running behind a container. Well, you can't see what's happening behind that container, where your men are, and what is happening and behind that container. But if you put on these goggles with AI and other things, GPS and this and that, it's able to show you where they are, right? So in a sense, you're looking through the steel container to where your men are, and you know about where they're going to pop out back into eyesight again. Well, he did the same thing, only he used the AI, which AI is a probability mechanism, right? It's going to calculate things based on probability. And it looks like this fantastic tool that predicts the future. But all it is doing is calculating what the next most obvious probability is. Well, we can do the same thing with price. We can do the same thing with price. We can see the direction price is going over time, and the probabilities are the trend is your friend. So, I mean, probabilities are an amazing thing. It is literally how Wall Street built itself over the last 50 to 100 years. These big, magnificent buildings and that's how, right? They're just using probabilities and a bunch of macro data and stuff. If you could just get that through your head, you would stop taking, shorts at highs and buys at lows in markets that are obviously trending in both of those directions. Those are going to be the trades that consistently break your account, like shorting Bitcoin all of April and the first week of May. It has not been a good trade. It has not worked out for the shorts. So literally, if you're the one that's been shorting Bitcoin every day last week and the week before that and the week before that, stop doing that. Like, you're at the right place. I can help you, my friend. We want to get to you before you do that damage to your account. Right? But yeah, the probabilities are that Bitcoin continues to go higher here, even though you've pulled back a little bit. Now, does that mean today wouldn't be a good day for a short? No, absolutely not. It just means that over time, most likely it will probably find a low and then start rallying again. All right, that's the probabilities. The people that are looking at past cycle data and going on 4-year cycle model theory, they're just walking blindfolded. They're walking blindfolded, and if that's the only reason to be putting on a short right now, that's not good. It's not good at all. You literally have the risk markets telling you that you're so wrong. You have the dollar telling you are so wrong. Like, not even a little bit wrong, so wrong. In all prior 4-year cycle bear markets, Bitcoin, the dollar was bullish. The dollar was ripping hot, like just scalding the earth to the upside. In every mid-cycle, or not mid-cycle, but mid-year election, right? Where midterms, that's the word I'm looking for. Midterm elections. Every single one of Bitcoin's 4-year bear cycles line up with midterms. Even this one does. However, just one factor that they do not have with them is a ripping dollar. The dollar is actually structured bearish here, not bullish. It's in a range. So you could argue, and I would say you're right, that it's in a range and it could break out to the upside. I would say you could be right because it is in a range, but it tried to break out to the upside in November in 2025 and it failed. And it tried again to break out to the upside in March of 2026 and it failed. So could it find support here and then break out in the future? Yes. And in that scenario, then I would say if that was transpiring, yeah, the 4-year cycle might work still on Bitcoin or the bear market. Another major factor that you do not have this time that you did last time is the RSI. The RSI on the weekly time frame has already bottomed out. So just looking at past data and trying to predict that's going to happen this time, it's like one data point, and there are like many many data points that say, yeah, no, it's not the same. You don't have the same price action. You don't have the same momentum. You don't have the same macro conditions. The economical backdrop is not the same. So many things are not the same. But it is the 200-day exponential. So you've got that going for you. All right. If Bitcoin is going to fail, I would assume it would do it here. Okay. And that couldn't be said as another 4-year cycle bear market data point, I guess, because prior 4-year cycle model or 4-year cycles, when Bitcoin retested the 200 simple, it rolled over. So yeah, I guess you could say that, right? We shorted here also, and I just want to make that clear to everybody. We shorted this high in March of 2022. That's where I made the majority of the Bitcoin that I own today. Is because of that short. That short, we started shorting in November prior to that swing, and we caught the whole move lower. So I literally cashed out or took profits on that trade the next year in 2023. It was a fantastic trade. But once again, momentum here had not bottomed out yet. It had not reached oversold. You were retesting the 50 on the weekly time frame right here from underneath, just breaking below it. So it was a better short. Technically and fundamentally, you had skyrocketing inflation. I'm not going to go on and on and on, but it was just a better trade setup. You don't have that setup here. You just don't. You do have the 200-day exponential, and you do have a retest of the weekly 50 on the RSI. So let's get rid of all these lines and show you that. So you do have that. My main concern with that is you've bottomed out, and 100% of the time, this has marked cycle lows. 4-year cycle, momentum cycle, every cycle. When the weekly RSI bottomed out or got to oversold, those were the lows for Bitcoin every single time. Every time. So far, this time too. Because that low is still intact. But you are retesting the 50 for the first time since you lost it. You never retested it. So there's your first retest on the 50, and since you're also retesting the 200-day exponential, sure, it could be a decent place to try for a short. Yeah, absolutely. I think you'd be better off shorting Fartcoin though. That's just my opinion. You're getting paid to hold a short on Fartcoin, whereas you're paying to hold a short on Bitcoin. And at least on weeks, I don't know how it works on Fartcoin, but on weeks, Bitcoin is more expensive in just fees. The fee structure is just different. So it costs me to hold what I would consider like 1% of my portfolio position sizing. It costs me about $60 to trade Bitcoin in fees alone. And it costs $10 to trade Fartcoin. Fartcoin also has a much larger expected move. It has a bigger daily percentage gain or loss. So it's just a better asset, in my opinion, to look for shorts. It's also named Fartcoin. So, I mean, the name says it's absolutely useless and garbage and all of that, right? And you don't have billion-dollar investors, taking bets on Fartcoin and putting their company up as stake. Whereas you do have that happening on Bitcoin. It's just a better short, right? Yeah. So anyways, that's that. All right. So we've got the bell. It rang a little while ago. We'll see what happens here. I'm also holding dollar shorts, oil shorts, NVIDIA long. Today it's pulling back a little bit. I've already taken profits on the NVIDIA trade. Today it looked a little bit different. There just wasn't a clear setup on it. Let's go look at Circle and Coin real quick. because coin was giving us a 5-minute read on a bearish position. So essentially, I'd be willing to short Coinbase, excuse me, if it could fail at 198 or at the highest 200. I wouldn't want to see it get up that high because of where the 200 intraday is. This line right here, I don't want to see price all the way up here with the 200 down there, because in my opinion, that would indicate a counter trend day. If all you're using to judge trend is these two moving averages, we don't need the 50. We just need the 200 and the 21. So in this scenario, this would be a short because the 200 is above the 21. You see what I'm saying? And they're close together. So we could anticipate price getting like a standard deviation away from the average. And that would be about up in here, judging by that wick. So this would be the area that I would want to put on a short, but I don't love the idea of the short simply because of the higher time frame charts. So, I mean, if you want to sell it, you could sell it. If you make a fresh day high, that's not going to look good. I'll just go ahead and say that. It is the first 15 minutes of the market, so if this candle close, which it is, so now since you have that, you have your opening range breakout trade here. So if you take out this high, your opening range breakout traders are going to be looking for the buy, and your opening range sellers are going to be waiting for the fresh day low. But those are for breakout style trades. We don't take those kind of trades. So there it is, a fresh day high. So remember, we don't want it to get too far above that 200 and then start to close and trend higher, because that would indicate that you're going to have an uptrending day, that this average is going to flip from being more bearish to being more bullish. But there's a large window of price and time that we can give it to suss out direction. So if it does get up here and then posts up and starts making, lower highs and lower lows, we could sell it then. But if it breaks out, gets up here, puts in two sideways candles and then breaks out again, one sideways candle breaks out again, it's a trending up day. It's not a short. It's acting like a short. So we could try it as a short. I don't know what position sizing I would need to take on that. Let me pull it up. Oh, I can't just pull up coin because... Okay, let me go to TradFi, stocks, and right there it is. There's only 83,000 contracts traded today on coin. I have $400 available that I can put to work here. So essentially, I don't want to see it taking these highs out. It's still bullish because the 200 is under the average, but at least with the RSI and the 21, I can short it still. A breakout above 4-hour res and these highs would indicate that it's going higher. So as long as it's trading under this line, I could short it. Now, finding out exactly what price, that price would be the best price to take the short. So 198.86 is where I'll put my first limit order for the short, 198.86. And then open trades, Fartcoin short, Nvidia long, already taking profits on that yesterday. Oil already took profits on that. And then I got a Bitcoin long down here that I need to take profits on. And Yeah, if Coinbase does fail here, then I would probably be looking to do that on Bitcoin today. If Coinbase breaks out, then I don't want to take profits on Bitcoin because Bitcoin may be putting in the low of day. It is moving lower right now, though. And you can see there are heavy selling deltas now. So this is not something that I would want to buy into. Too much bearish momentum. But other people will be looking to buy into that. So I guess we could probably want to go ahead and put the short on Coinbase based on what Bitcoin is doing here. So let me see if I can get a fill here. Deltas on Coinbase do not look bearish. So Coinbase laid off a bunch of their employees a couple days back. And market participants could view that as a bullish, because they don't have to pay those people now. So that just means more profits to the bottom line. I don't know that it would be bullish if Bitcoin is bearish all day. So we kind of just want to watch what the dollar's doing here and then hopefully get on the right side of that. If the dollar fails here and starts to head lower, then that could put bid pressure on Coinbase. All right, so we have a fresh day high and a close under. I have not been filled on my limit short on Coinbase yet. And then Pingu is already heading lower, so I missed the entry on that one. But the deltas just looked better for the sell on Pingu than it did on Bitcoin. Now the deltas look fine on Bitcoin, but I'm not going to jump in fresh low day shorts. Not when I can short something like Coinbase that is currently testing the day high and failing. Okay, so now I'm going to have to chase it a little bit. So that just essentially means I'm going to put my limit order right on the 4-hour open and try to get a fill right here. And that high would be my stop. So we're going to need a pretty large move on Coinbase to make money. It's not a great trade setup. This 200 could potentially stop it. But it doesn't really matter because I haven't been filled yet. And I'm not going to chase it under the 4-hour open. That just doesn't make any sense to me. So let's go back up top here. The stop loss up here. Okay, we've got to fill. That would be a much larger stop than I want to take, as that would be $72 on a stop. So I'm going to separate the distance and try to keep it just around 30. Or, that would be fine. It's not a good trade doing that, but I think it's been open long enough. It would look a lot better if it would make a lower 5-minute low. This actually looks bullish still. So yesterday, this thing opened, put in a wick low. That ended up being your low of day. and then also put in the high of day, and that ended up being the whole range for the whole day. So that one 5-minute candle was that was it. That was the whole. If you got long or short in Coinbase yesterday, it didn't do anything. You never did make a fresh. Well, that's a squeak under, isn't it? Come on, you asshole. 193.28. 194.02. So, no, it is not. How is that not a lower low? Oh, there it is. 193.25. So it is lower. That's 28. That's 25. Well, now it's saying 20. It is a lower 194.20. What? 196.26. It's a lower low. Nevertheless, it's a lower low. Yeah, it does look like it wants to reach for the stars here. Emotional traders jump on the short, just like I did, how I chased it lower like that. Then now this thing just pulling back to the day high is going to stop me out. Not a great start. It's one stop, and the way my risk management works is I take 3 stops. I can take up to 3. I rarely don't, though. I've already eaten one, so I have to be very careful. The one Farcoin short that I took this morning, that did stop me out. What is it doing? It's also not giving you that downside continuation look. This needs to make a lower low. It needs to do that. You've got 2 hours to do it. If it can't make a lower low in the next 2 hours, it probably isn't going lower. It doesn't. We don't have to wait long. We should know here pretty damn soon. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Did you look at silver yet? No. Silver was really bullish yesterday and the day before. It's like it's ripping. This is going to, dollar weakness. Probably helped it out a little bit. Yeah, even gold looks like it wants to break out. Really bullish move here on XAG. Yeah, we knew dollar weakness would probably help this to build in support. It did build in support. It built in support at 3-day support. Right there was the support. Couldn't close under. We looked at this the other day and we brought that up. As long as it's, struggling to close under this, it's support. Because I think somebody was long. It looked a little bit touch and go there for a little while, but it ultimately did break to the upside with aggression. So obviously the shorts were stuck, right? Shorts were stuck. And it ripped their faces off. It looks fine. I wouldn't be anticipating a fresh yearly high or anything like that, but I mean, it looks okay here. You're still stuck in a huge range. And that range gets even bigger the further out you go in time. So it looks like a gigantic breakout. It just isn't. It's a nice breakout, a nice 2-3 day rally, but it's not a gigantic move. Looks fine though. It does look like on the long term the bulls are defending. This is what gold and silver bulls have been doing, or at least gold bulls. They've been holding higher lows in a sense. Let's go look at gold. That's not even gold. So yeah, I would be concerned for shorts if it continues to do that. You've got a bullish engulfing weekly range on gold. And the chart is clearly bullish. It's in consolidation, but it's clearly more bullish than bearish here. You closed under the weekly 21 last week. This week, it's a bullish engulfing. And next week, if it could hold literally this week's open, I would be a buyer there. Potentially on a pullback. I don't know if it would pull back that deep, but that's where I'd be looking for it nonetheless. What's Coinbase doing? So it is back under the open. That's a decent sign there. It did make that lower low, so that's good too. Let's see how that resistance kind of forms here. So now we want to see it start reaching for the low, expanding back towards the downside. No, I'm not quite sure what's going on there, but not quite there yet. So Bitcoin did just make one lower close under the day low. You still have really negative deltas here, so that looks good for downside continuation. Just because you have negative deltas does not mean you're going to get downside continuation. But it looks really good for downside continuation. So I got stopped out on Coinbase, and I didn't get filled on the next entry. I only got filled on 10 contracts short. So that's kind of stupid. But it is what it is. It was my bad chasing price. It was literally my bad. Should not have filled down here. I should have filled up there. There's not really any action here, so I'm not really liking this. Like, there's just, it's not expanding. It's very slow. It's almost like nobody's trading Coinbase. There we go. We're starting to see a little bit. If I don't get filled, though, it's not going to matter. Because I'm not chasing it down to here. I've already learned my lesson. I have the short on Fartcoin, so if it does break down, I'll make my money on Fartcoin, not Coinbase, unfortunately. It is what it is. Nvidia looks good. It's trying to put in an upside continuation move here. I like Nvidia higher. I mean, Nvidia did really good yesterday. I don't see any reason why that would stop. The probabilities would have it moving higher. Bitcoin, if it were to break down and start to trend down today, then, you know, Fartcoin most likely will too. So I definitely don't want to take profits on my Bitcoin long on a down day and on the lows. But that's just mishandling of unrealized gains on my part. I should have taken profits on it yesterday, which is when I was looking to do it. I like to take profits on the highs, not on the lows. But it's not really going to matter if it keeps breaking down today. So we should know here in just a minute or two if Bitcoin's going to be a pretty nasty down day or if the bulls have got it. So you're under yesterday's low. That's really good sign for the bears. That's also a 5-day low. I don't know why I would even have that data up there. Must have looked at that on the laptop or something. I very rarely ever look at this. Okay, so it was this candle's low. This candle just opened yesterday or the day before yesterday. The 3-day could literally pull back down to roughly 79. If it held support there, this chart would still look good for upside continuation. On the 3-day chart, you got to get all the way back down to 78 before you can start to say, okay, now at least you have a rejection on your hands. This is just a pullback. It's not a bearish move at all. So let's see what the bears are able to do here. But that's just the market just opened. So Bitcoin could get way down into here by noon. It's got to take out that low though. Got to start closing lower candles. You did get a phase of expansion right through here. You got 4 downside candles. Boom, 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 boom. So several sideways candles from here makes sense. You're going to have buyers trying to buy this as a trap. If you get a lower close, it is not a trap, a bear trap. The deltas look really good for downside continuation. But that could also cause a short squeeze if there's a big buy order down here soaking up all these asks. And then on coin, you're not breaking down yet. You're still trading inside your opening range. it looks okay, but there's just not much action happening here. Let's go look at Circle. Circle's still trading inside of its opening range as well. I would argue that Circle looks okay for a short, at least on the 15-minute chart. The way you liquidated that swing high and then instantly rolled over. That's a breakout failure rejection. Fartcoin did make that lower low, so Bitcoin probably will too. You're starting to see those sellers show up on Fartcoin. Yeah, Michael Saylor's timing is pathetic on that. I mean, wait right for Bitcoin to go up to the 200-day exponential and then be like, yeah, we're going to sell some Bitcoin just to cover our expenses. It doesn't matter why you're selling it. It matters that you're selling it. You've been talking about how you will never sell. You can't be like, I'm never going to sell to the internet and then tell your shareholders you're going to sell. Like, people will start looking at you like a douchebag. All those golden hand freaking AI memes that you made about yourself and all that. Yeah, you gotta be careful. People remember stuff like that. So Bitcoin did not make that lower low yet. Yeah, oil would probably be a short again when it pulls back. You don't want to buy it. I mean, you don't want to be selling it when it's got... I mean, it does have momentum to the downside, but to sell a day low would be ballsy. Very ballsy. And the dollar is not breaking down here today. Yet. I don't want to see it make higher lows and then start to trend back towards that yearly opening range. March's open is a big support zone. Because last month we traded, we couldn't close under March's open. So the fact that we did make that lower low and can't keep going, that kind of iffy. The dollar looks good for the breakdown, but every time it's gotten down here, it's been scooped right back up. Is that because USD JPY is not moving today? That's exactly what it means. Sideways AF. We got non-farms tomorrow. That's probably what's up. Probably what's up right there. Non-farm payrolls tomorrow. NFP. So today could be a very slow day in terms of fresh lows. With non-farms just around the corner, you're probably not going to see heavy sell-side conviction today. The trend has been bullish on Bitcoin. Bullish trend. All right, since coin isn't doing anything yet, we're almost, I mean, we're 45 minutes into this market's open, and it's going right back to the open again. If it doesn't reject here, and I mean now, I'll just close this for a break even. Right here's your day open. It's got to reject this. It should already be putting in a trending move, as far as I'm concerned. Let's see what we do. And I still didn't get filled. Oh, yes, I did. Okay. Because it made it back to the day open, it did ultimately fill me. But I don't like the fill. And the reason I don't like the fill, this is a higher low. So it has to reject the open, or I'm just going to bail. Don't have sell side deltas on this one. We'll just hope the fart coin one works out. So yesterday's low is right here on Bitcoin. We don't need the RSI. Yesterday's open is just a little bit higher. That's going to be a supply candle, or people are going to be looking at that as a supply candle. That's probably where new short sellers will be looking to jump on it at, as you do have that breakdown below the VWAP right here. You still got May's VWAP to contend with, but nice sell side deltas. Looks okay for a downtrending move. See, we don't really have that on Coinbase. It's actually bullish. The deltas are bullish. So you can see why the higher lows are starting to freak me out a little bit. You failed the opening range breakdown, is what you've done. Remember, on the larger time frame charts, there's support down here. The 200 exponential moving average here. This would be a bullish cross. So you got dip buyers popping in here to buy this. There's earnings. Or did they already report? Nope, there it is. Thursday evening. So tonight. I wish I would have saw that. Yeah, this thing probably isn't going to do shit today. It's got earnings at the bell. So this thing's probably going to have big wicks down and up to wash out all traders today. So you could probably scratch this one if you wanted to. I didn't see the earnings, because it doesn't show me that on the intraday chart. All the way over there. Yeah, you'll probably get a big washout move in both directions. I definitely would not be sitting in this for a swing trade. You'll get to earnings and you'll get a big washout move like that. So it'll just smoke everybody on both sides of the market. What We are getting that rejection at the day open, so that's kind of nice, but I'm not anticipating a large trending move today. Maybe we get lucky and we get a 2% move. Yeah, we could take profits at like 190, 190. If it breaks down. All right. Afternoon, trade talkers. Hope you all are well. You could tokenize the best farts ever. Yeah, right. Good morning, says Chase. Good morning, Chase. Right about shorting ETH yesterday. Was I? Yeah, it's just weaker than Bitcoin because it's got that inherent weakness. I think you would, like, for anybody that does have a bear case on Bitcoin, obviously I don't know if Bitcoin's going to make new lows or not. Nobody does. But if I felt that it was going to, I would rather short Ethereum. Ethereum is still trading under its weekly 200. Bitcoin's trading above its weekly 200. So Ethereum is just weaker in terms of the moving averages. We could get the percentage, see which one's weaker via percentages on the year. Ethereum's only down 22%, or only. Ethereum is down 22%. Bitcoin is only down 8%. So there you go. Ethereum is clearly far weaker than Bitcoin. Those are the assets you want to be short. The assets that are weaker. But I think it's weaker because nobody's trading it. Nobody's buying it or selling it. It's just there's thin volumes. We looked at volume yesterday. Volume looked fine. It is light, but it's not like super light. It's not uber light. There's not that much of a difference in terms of volume. Like on Coinbase, the volumes look pretty consistent here. They were weak yesterday and Tuesday. So yeah, I mean, it is working out better for sure. But that's also why, like, I'd be fine shorting Fartcoin or anything other than Bitcoin. There is a potential crypto catalyst coming out with that crypto bill that's sitting in the House right now or whatever. The Senate, I'm not sure. But that could blow up all the shorts on all the crypto markets. So just be careful. Keep an eye on that bill that's being wait to be passed. You also have the BIP 110 drama still out there. That's also a risk on Bitcoin. BIP 110 is a soft fork. And that's supposedly coming in September. So at least into the crypto versus bear goggle thesis, like Bitcoin making new lows in October, I could see that happening if, buy the rumor, sell the news happens. BIP 110 is a soft fork, and it is going to be into effect in September. There's not a lot of movement on Ethereum. That's the issue for me. I guess it has moved down pretty good from where we were looking for the short. It's down almost 4%. Not even a 2-day 2% move. So it's not been a great trade. It's been a decent one. I'm not in it, so it doesn't matter. All right, now you're going to see Bitcoin's going to make a lower low or not. I probably won't do a live stream for NFP tomorrow for the public because they're just not, they haven't really been eventful. I do not think that they're going to change. I don't think unemployment rate's going to move up very much or down. I mean, it could, but that's not the expectations, or the forecast is for no change. Non-farm payrolls have been all over the place, and the market hasn't really been really caring. What just happened? I wish there was a refresh button on this page somewhere. Okay, so let's go back over here. We'll just pull Bitcoin back up. Daily supply is at $80,907. Not really a level I'm interested in shorting. But it will be a level people will be watching tomorrow for non-farm payrolls. 4 hour looks fine. It's a breakdown. It's like the first support breakdown. Here is support right here. So this could be a trap. A bear trap. Traps are on literally all time frames. Yeah, so yeah, people are definitely wanting to see lower lows. If I was short Bitcoin, I would be wanting to see lower lows. Silver gold, says Nonstopity. We did look at silver just a little while ago and gold. They both look fine. They're both breaking out here. Dollar weakness is helping that breakout. If you're long dollar, I mean, if you're long silver or gold, I don't see any reason to close that trade. Or you take profits if you want up here. You're coming into April's highs. That's the next major level of potential resistance. A rejection here, I would take profits. Like if it squeaks above it and then rejects, I would probably be willing to take profits if I got long at the open of May. So it's definitely going into a profit-taking area. It isn't trending right now. It's just in a large range. It's building in support. This could take a long time on gold and silver. A long time. There really, because I'm looking at the perpetual swap futures contracts, there really isn't like any, I guess you're going to have people that are going to be looking at trend lines, calling this a breakout. It is a breakout. If this is what you look at. My problem with it is it's only 2 touches. 2 touches doesn't make a trend. It's a point. It's a line. It's not a trend. You need 3 touches to call something a trend. So if you go up here to the blow off, you just don't have anything. This is one reason why you don't see me using trend lines very often. They're very subjective. Even if you tag them to highs or closes, it's still going to be read very subjectively. Some people are going to call this a trend, but it's only 2 touches. There's a third touch right there. So I guess you could say that you're breaking out of a triangle pattern here. The way I see it, you're still trading inside of April's range. So you're an inside candle right now. You're inside of a range. You're inside of April's range. You're not breaking out of anything. You got to break out above April's high before you can say that you're breaking out of a range. In terms of the weeklies, you're not even breaking out of anything here. You're above last week's high, so that's a very good near-term bullish signal, right? At least you did get above last week's high and the week prior to that. So there's 2, you got fresh 3-week highs here. It looks good. I don't know if it's going to continue to do that, but as of right now, it looks good. The dollar is at a very crucial support. So if this support holds and then price starts to head back up above the yearly opening range, gold and silver will probably top out. But they do both look very nice. Well, gold only has fresh 2-week highs. This week and last week. Silver looks better. Yeah, it looks fine. You're still very bullish. You're closing weeklies above the 21. That is a very, very bullish trend. Silver, longer term investors and analysts use the 50-week as strong trend confirmation, right? So if you're above the 50-week, you're in a strong trend. The 50-week is all the way down here. You haven't even tested it yet. So this trend is still very strong. Last time you tested it was here, and that was the last buying opportunity. April's high is going to be extremely important for it to break out. If it can break out and sustain bullish pressure above that, then I would say you have a legit breakout on your hands potentially. So it'll be interesting to see what silver does at April's high. I wouldn't be willing to buy that or anything, but it's looking pretty good for gold and silver right now. Bitcoin's struggling to make fresh day lows. Farcoin did make fresh day lows. No, it didn't. I mean fresh 4-hour swing lows, sorry. Farcoin has not made fresh day lows yet, as your daily low is all the way down there. Bitcoin has. You got 2-day lows happening here. And if it can get under that, it's probably going to be a pretty nice size expansion. Good morning, Tony the Fish. How are you doing? Silver is ripping. Says non-stoppity. We just looked at silver. Oil dropping more today. It looks like it wants to. It just has. I mean, to be fair, it took out yesterday's low, but it's just hanging out right there at yesterday's low. This was my downside target for this week on silver. It's last week's open. So, downside target hit. Now, next week I will look for new shorts on silver, but I'll be looking for that lower high. Not silver, sorry, oil. we get a lower high next week, I would be looking to put on a new short. But there's still massive headline risk out there, so oil could pop right back up. It could pop right back up. Like, say for instance, if Iran actually had had really good luck and was able to actually hit a U.S. carrier or something like that, oil is ripping back to the upside. Too much headline risk. Okay, Coinbase just dropped for us a little bit here, but then popped right back up. It still has not made a fresh opening range breakdown yet. Over an hour in the market, and you have not taken out the opening range break yet. Very slow. This is at a crawl. That happens sometimes. For anybody just joining us, we took a short on the open on Coinbase. We didn't love it because there's a key support level down here, and tomorrow's non-farm payrolls, and Coinbase is doing earnings after the bell. So those are like 3 reasons not to be looking for a short. All 3 reasons we found out after we took the short. We took the technical signal, but it wasn't the best technical signal. There was a good technical 5-minute signal, but those are usually not things that I like to be operating on. Fartcoin, nice little drop right there. And we got trending deltas too. That's a good look. Probably should take profits if you're short Fartcoin. I realize that I'm mostly talking to the Discord because I alerted this short at 3 o'clock in the morning. If you're still in it, if that wig didn't trigger your short, your stop loss, you might want to take profits here. You're into support. It's a very small move comparatively, but it is 6%. To be fair, you probably would have taken the short at the open. Still a decent move, 4.75%. You should definitely take profits. You could get a larger break. If you get a breakdown, it could wind up being a larger move. It's just, we've got non-farm payrolls tomorrow morning, first thing. Thoughts on him? Are you talking about HIMS, HIMS, or is him? Yeah, I don't see a him ticker. I'm assuming you're referring to HIMS. It looks bearish on the long term. Obviously, it's not really doing good. First 50-week retest ended up being a failure. The best thing that I could make, like the best bull case that I could make on this, is the fact that you're not trending lower. You're still very much chopping inside of last week's range. That's not always bullish, because if it does break down below last week's low, it could see that expansion phase kick in, where you get like a deeper drop, and then that would look really bad. You've also got earnings coming up next week on HIMS, so that's probably why you're not seeing a big expansion yet. It just doesn't look that great. The first 50 exponential retest is generally going to be a pullback area. So it's fine that it pulled back. You definitely want to see it hold support here. It's an old weekly resistance level. So you definitely want to see it hold as support if it gets retested. You've also got the 200-week exponential moving average right in there. So there are some cases to make for support. None that I love. I would have to just... That one line right there is literally telling me all the data I need to know for now. It's still in a very strong bearish trend. Very strong bearish trend. So this is a dead cat bounce or a short closing rally. Short covering rally. Doesn't look great. If it can reclaim 32.16 and hold it as support, maybe then you could make the argument that it's potentially going higher. I don't know much about this company. I don't know if it's a growth company or if it just got lucky. I don't know. Let me look at it on log. On log it looks fine. It's higher than the IPO price. But I mean, this thing is off like 65% of the highs. Yeah, 64%. It's not great. Not great. I mean, but it's on sale. So I would wait for that strength to confirm. This right here could just be a short covering rally. New shorts could get opened up on this thing up here and it could go right back down again. Just be careful. I would want to see that holding on a support basis. Then you could make the argument that maybe it's I mean, it definitely hit oversold on the weekly. So if this was a growth asset, right? If it was, I don't have 10 years of data, so I can't say that it is. All I can say is that it had a nice rally in 2025, but it couldn't sustain that massive bullish pressure. So longer term, if support can hold, if this low is able to hold for long term, then I could make the argument that you could potentially buy it. But you're going to need more data. We need 10 years of data to basically recognize a macro trend. So far, every oversold reading on the RSI has been bought. There's no reason to suspect that trend is going to change here. You see what I'm saying? So maybe wait for earnings to come out. Hopefully they have a good blowout earnings and it gets above the 50 and then it will retest the 50 and hold as support. That would be a beautiful indication that buyers did scoop up the overbought momentum. When buying oversold, remember, you need to be doing that on assets that are growth assets or assets that have good, strong trends to the upside. On log, this is trending higher over time, but it only goes back to 2020. Off log, it looks like dog dung. It's a very fast-moving asset, which kind of fits the growth model. It's a high beta stock, most likely. But it needs to hold. So yeah, I mean, it's got some work to do for a long-term investment. For a day trade, there's nothing to do here. Absolutely nothing. I would be more bearish, but last week's low would be my downside target. And I don't even know if that's... Yeah, I guess there would have been a scalp in there. It looks okay on the 4 hour. You got earnings coming up soon, so it's likely going to chop sideways until then. You might get a liquidation on both top and bottom sides of the range before then, but it's just a very tight range. Tight ranges are good if they can hold support. The slow grind lower doesn't look good. Yeah, it's a violent, very violent mover sometimes. I'd be hard because earnings is so close. I wouldn't even get involved on this. It looks like a 200-day rejection. Bitcoin did make that lower low. So yeah, bulls are probably not doing much. Yeah, that's going to be the top news of the day. Hold Strategy Incorporated, holding about 67 billion in Bitcoin, said it may sell Bitcoin to strengthen its balance sheet, boost BTC per share, use credit to buy, or sell holdings to fund dividends. I don't know. That's just whatever. It's his company. He can do whatever he wants, right? But damn, bro. You sure know when your timing is terrible. His timing on bids is terrible. His timing on sells is not so bad, but I would have just been a seller. I wouldn't have, wanted to tell the whole world about it. But he has to also, because he's a publicly traded company, so there are rules. There might have been just no way to get around it. I don't know. You never really want to be a buyer on a 200-day retest. That's generally going to be a profit-taking area. Especially if it's the first one, which this was. You got bulls that have been holding Bitcoin for a few months now, taking profits up here. It makes sense. I definitely would love to see February's high hold as support longer term. As long as we're above Strategy's cost basis, my near-term bias would be higher. And if the dollar breaks down. So we're kind of at an interesting place on the chart. A pullback makes a total and complete sense to me here. And Bitcoin looks fine for a pullback. Looks fine. Zcash is what I wanted. So Zcash is literally doing what I wanted to see Bitcoin do. You know what I mean? When you look at this on the daily, you set in those Feb lows, built in a range, exploded as you squeeze those shorts. This move you just haven't gotten yet on Bitcoin. Then a very slow, contrived pullback here, and then wow, that's the death throes. That right there put the lights out for the bears. This thing got all the way back up to $600 on that move. Phenomenal move there on Zcash. Absolute perfection. Right in through there. I always got to it a day late. By the time I saw it, it was always a day or two too late. So I never tried to get involved on it. But beautiful, flawless 21-day hold. It's a trap. It puts in the close under. That's fine. As long as you're not getting downside continuation, that's a good indication that you may be seeing a trap being built. It is so easy to watch. When you get that day close for the first time back under the 21 exponential, literally all you got to do is mark that day's low. That's it. Just mark that low. And then if price is trending lower under that level, it's not a trap potentially, because you're literally seeing downside continuation. However, if you go multiple days where price just gets away from it and starts to head back in the opposite direction, you potentially have a bear trap on your hands and you could be a buyer. That low is how you would mitigate your risk. I mean, we could have got involved, we just didn't. But damn, I wish I would have now. That was a nice rally. That yearly opening range did nothing that day. Just exploded to the upside. And then when you look at XMR, nothing. Completely opposite. The yearly opening range did hold. But overall, it's like, it looks like Bitcoin, right? It still looks fine. It still looks fine. It's understandable that the first year open retest would be a fade trade. Of course. It's, do the buyers step up and pick it up at $400? If you can build in a higher low support, you might see a rip your face off rally on this as well. The problem with XMR and Zcash is they're not traded on exchanges, the spot market, because Coinbase and Binance both do not list either one of these two assets. They're privacy tokens, and governments hate privacy tokens. But they both trade futures. So, yeah, we could have got involved, but just I didn't. And then when we were watching over the weekend, that one ended up puking. All right, so I'm getting ready to cut it. I'm getting ready to cut this loose. We're an hour and 20 minutes into the day open, and we still have not gotten an opening range breakdown. Yesterday, you put in the opening range in the first 5 minutes, and yesterday did the exact same thing. Price literally chopped sideways all day long. I don't want to have my money tied up in something like that. And not only that, like if it's flat out refusing to make fresh lows, that could indicate that there's a strong bid under the market. So I don't want to get ripped up either. So, I mean, I'm just going to leave this one alone. I've got Fartcoin working for me right now. It's at support, but at least I'm up $300 on that trade. So my day, if I were to close the whole position right now, I'd make my $300. I would rather close, 75% of it and leave a small piece open to catch any continuation going into the weekend. I don't think you're going to see huge continuation because the bears have been trying to get huge continuation for so long. This is literally telling you that the bear trade has been and is the wrong trade. A very easy metric to tell yourself if the bears are in control of a market or not is to just simply look at price. When the bears are in control of a market, you get nice, big, trending moves lower. When the bears back off of a market, you get this sideways garbage. I mean, if they were going to show up, why wait so late? Like, why wait for the war to die down before showing up to go back out there and sell risk heavily? It don't make any sense. And if the dollar breaks down today or tomorrow, I anticipate risk, not Fartcoin specifically, but risk markets as a whole to continue to push. I mean, Nvidia is looking fine here. Nvidia is looking fine with upside continuation even. Boom, boom. So this means you're literally above last week's open. We were talking about this bear reversal signal here, how it's not a really good one, right? Because it's in a bull market. And here you are. Boom shakalaka. The bulls are strong with the force. You're back above old all-time highs, guys. Like, that's a fantastic 2-day rally. We caught that beautifully yesterday. Absolutely chef's kiss perfection. I just don't feel good about the bearish trades right now. And this should be proof and self-evident that it's just not working. So I'm exiting that one. There's no point in losing a single penny on this trade. Alrighty. So I guess the only thing we're gonna have to do here is just keep an eye on Farcoin, and maybe we get lucky and it breaks down and gives me that, a little bit deeper push to where I can take profits on it. I guess if I had to, I'll just close the whole trade down, because it isn't inverse trend trade. It's counter trend. The short is. You got to be quick to take profits when you're looking for counter trend positions. Unfortunately, it's just the way it works. The way it works. What is a good take profit on the silver long, says Nonstoppity. I like if it was me, I can't tell you where to do anything, right? I'm not a money manager. I'm not legally licensed to do so. If I was long silver, depending on where, obviously, but like say I got long this week or last week, say I got lucky and caught the lows of last week, I would be taking profits here, like right here where it is. I'm fine with taking profits just shy of a resistance level, because there's nothing that's going to guarantee that it even gets back up there. This thing could roll over right here for a random reason, like just insert random reason. There's nothing that says it has to go back up there. The fact that you're literally taking profits at the near term day high, like today's high, those are always good places to take profits. At the highs, especially when you're long. At the lows is a good place to take profits when you're short. So like if the asset is making fresh day lows, take profits for sure. Literally anywhere here. I can't see into the future, so I can't tell you, or I couldn't even tell myself, I'll wait for 85 or I'll wait for 86. What if it never gets up there? What if it doesn't get up there? Now, the trend is very strong this week. And since there's, not really any, the dollar isn't this strong on a downside break. So that kind of looks like buyers scooped up silver and the shorts were stuck down here. It does look like you're on a bit of a short squeeze. So how I would do it, I would just simply take profits before you get to that key resistance. Leave a small piece on for any upside break or continuation move that happens. Because if you get lucky and you get a multi-week run here, then you're going to make more money on 3 weeks of upside than you would holding a full-size position here. But that's just the way that I do things. But yeah, I would definitely be taking profits, and I would try to do that before it got to the high. Doing that will obviously make you miss out on any longer-term gains that happen. But like I said, that's what nobody can predict, is longer term gains. There are no indicators out there that will predict that stuff. There is nothing that will predict more upside gains. It's in a monthly range, right? You're still in a monthly range. So yeah, right here is where you want to be ready to shed and take some profits just in case it doesn't get back up there. It's a very good looking weekly candle. Volatility is still extremely high on this on the weekly time frame. It's starting to cool off on the 3-day. The daily, it's cooled off a lot. And the 12-hour, well, you had zero volatility. So that's why you're seeing a vol spike to the upside. This is a volatility indicator, but it's direct. It's neutral on direction. It's not a bear or bull indicator. It's just showing you when volatility spikes. So you're getting a volatility spike that could continue, but you're getting close to resistance. Your traders are basically controlling the silver and gold market right now. The longer term support hold is nice. It is nice. That higher low will look good. So now that you've gotten the higher low, you've even got a 3-touch trend line there. So that's a good look. It looks like long-term demand showed up here. Yeah, I mean, it does. It looks fine. But because you're stuck in the range for now, if it doesn't break out with sustained pressure above this, I would be looking for it to come right back down. First, the midpoint. So this is your range right here. We always look for the midpoint of the range. So right here is the range. So if it doesn't break out on the first attempt above April's high, then I would anticipate a pullback to here at a bare minimum if it fails a sustainable rally. That's why I would take profits. And right now the traders are essentially dominating this. You would be able to say the longer term buyers are back once you start breaking out of monthly highs and building in higher low supports. It looks okay. It looks really good. That was a good trade on your part. Good job. Good job. But this sideways price action is what I would anticipate continues on gold and silver. But dollar weakness could literally help both of them get a lift. They don't trade inversely to the dollar. It's just one of those things. It's just one of those things. Dollar bear, risk on. You know what I mean? So Kevin Warsh is going to do a lot for the dollar in terms of the breakdown if he starts to cut interest rates. That isn't what the market is pricing in right now, though. It's important that you guys know that. We can go look to make sure. So we want to look out to at least December for 2026. Yeah, there's a 71% chance that there are no more rate cuts this year. But we haven't heard him speak yet. We will hear him speak in June. And what he has to say in that meeting will be huge for this December prediction. So right now it's 71%, but not too long ago this was much higher. Yeah, if he comes out super dovish or worse, does like an emergency cut, then these probabilities are going to shift heavily. And then the dollar is going to heavily shift as well. So it's at a major, major inflection point here. This trend line goes all the way back to May of 2011. And, you know, smirk trend lines all you want. This one has been holding since 2011. There's a couple times when you wicked a quarterly range under, but the quarterly candle could not close under. You still got 2 months. We just started Q2 this month. So obviously what I would love to see for Bitcoin bull positioning is for the dollar to close under this major support zone. I think if we could clear that on a quarterly closing basis and then see continuation, you could get a large move lower on the dollar, because this trend line has literally been holding for so long. A macro move lower on the dollar, in my opinion, would be one of the best things that could naturally happen to Bitcoin. But it is a key level of support. That's why I've got so many lines. I guess I can delete all of these. We only really need one. So Q1's close. But down here, you've got so many supports. I'm going to view March's open as that number one support. Yearly opening range is still right here too. I love it. I love it for the breakdown, but I loved it for the breakdown last time too. Last time we got down here, I loved it. The structure is sideways, so moving averages are a lot less helpful when your price structure is sideways. So I have to put, like, I have to look to view what the chart looks like here and put the respect on the bearish side because of the structure. And this structure is the same on the 3-day and daily charts as well. So it really looks good for a breakdown, but because we're in a range, something like this could happen again. Yeah. So I love that they tightened up on the daily. I don't like that they're super wide on the weekly, but it is what it is. It looks better for me for downside plays. But it's a key level. So it could take another couple months to resolve this, unfortunately. June, in the middle of June, when Kevin Warsh speaks, he will come out. We will get his sentiment. We'll get clarification on what his plans are. We'll just have so much more data to work with. It'll make it a little bit easier. And if he comes in line with cutting rates and continuing to expand the Fed's balance sheet. That's something that not many people are talking about right now. Kevin Warsh is a hawk. He's known as a hawk, which is a guy that would rather hike interest rates, but he's also for growth. He's also for growth, and he also wants to essentially carry on with the monetary policy that supports that growth narrative. So he has spoken of drastically reducing the Fed's balance sheet. But as of right now, the Fed's balance sheet is going back up. I don't know what, like if that's an indicator or what. Let's see real quick. Let's see if we can do Fed balance sheet. There's a growth rate. I don't know if this is going to be helpful. It doesn't have it on the monthly. Yeah, I don't know if this is accurate. I do know that the Fed's balance sheet does look like this. It has bottomed out and it has started to move back to the upside. Because what was it, 3 meetings ago or 4 at this point, when Powell said that they were going to buy or spend $40 billion a month, or up to $40 billion a month, or whatever it was. So the balance sheet has grown by another $200-300 billion at this point. You also have ISM is above 50. So in a lot of places, ISM is looked at as the business cycle. There are other indicators that you can look at for business cycles, but some people just look at ISM. I don't have it. I thought I did. Yeah, I don't have it. USMPR for manufacturing and then services. Yeah, that's not what I'm looking for. Yeah, I can't do that. There you go. This is the correct one right here. So anything above 50 is good. You can see how long the US was under 50. And every time we got back to 50, it nope, negative, nope, resistance. Well, finally, we've gotten a nice little break here to the upside. This is more of a bullish look for Bitcoin as well. So if Bitcoin likes liquidity, it should start to trend higher. You've got a lot of macro signals working here for the bullish case on Bitcoin. If ISM can stay above 50, if the dollar can break down, if rates start getting cut, if they continue to buy treasuries, like all of these things are shaping up for a very bullish rally. And not to mention, Michael Saylor has essentially locked up all of the sell side pressure from the bear market. He essentially absorbed it all. Not just heavy retail selling, but also minor selling. You have a lot of things that are currently working together that could shape up a nice rally, like a rally of old, like a rally everybody thinks Bitcoin is dead because it hasn't done since 2020, 2024, right? 2024 is essentially when Bitcoin quit rallying. You had a nice rally in 2023, made fresh all-time highs in 2024, and then another rally. And then going into 2025, like, Bitcoin hit that 100K early December, and then struggled to maintain bullish continuation above 100K, really dropped back down and set in a support because, you know, the beginning of the 2025 year, we had tariff fears and all this. And then it finally rallied, made fresh all-time highs, but then didn't really do anything. So and Bitcoin did rally in 2025. It did make fresh all-time highs. It wasn't a massive breakout, destroy the bears and keep going style rally. Well, everything is shaping up to where something like this could happen. It is not my base case right now that this happens. Right now, my base case is it probably stays range bound and under the yearly opening range for a big part of the year. But as long as it stays off these lows, I'm fine with it. I'm fine with scooping it up. I want to buy as much as I can while it's down here. And get ready for a monstrosity of a rally. If that bill passes, that's just going to be another check mark in the bullish rally box. I don't know. It's hard for me to anticipate that Bitcoin has another massive leg lower. And make no mistake, from here, just from where it is right here today, down to 30K, because that's where most people are looking for Bitcoin to go to. That's a 62% decline. Bitcoin has never done that in its entire history. It has never hit oversold on the RSI and then dropped 62%. Ever. Has never done that. It's just, I look at charts differently than other people do, I guess. I mean, it looks bad here because we took out yesterday's low, but I've been sitting in the Fartcoin short literally all morning, and it hasn't gone anywhere. That's not insane bearishness. Bitcoin did make a fresh day low, but then it literally stopped going lower. That's not insane bearishness. It's a pullback. We're seeing a very shallow correction so far. What is Bitcoin down today? It's not even down 2%. Like, it's a meh move at best. But it could continue. It could continue. I think the dollar is going to play a huge role in the future on what Bitcoin does from here. Huge role. Bitcoin is dropping, says Joy Affairs. Yeah, it did make that secondary low. Thanks, you're welcome, Cabby. New legislation coming out that will drive that business forward with new products. Yeah, potentially. Can Bitcoin hold here? I don't know. I mean, I don't see a reason for it to hold here. Not really. There's not, like, this isn't a buying opportunity for me. It's a midpoint of a 3-day candle. I mean, I don't really like to buy midpoints because they're so wonky. Not many people are looking at them, and especially on a convoluted chart like the 3-day. Not many people look at the 3-day chart. Not many at all. You're just under the 3-day mid. It's literally the weekly candle. So, I mean, yeah, it doesn't look good that Bitcoin is about to test the weekly range 618 on a Thursday, the day before NFP. It's not a great sign, but it tested the 200-day exponential. So it could literally pull back for the next 2 weeks. But I mean, yeah, I guess 618 of the weekly range, it could. I wouldn't anticipate that it does. It's got a little bit of bearish momentum here. Remember, you don't want to try to buy into huge bearish momentum. It's not only in price. You're seeing a momentous move in deltas as well. So, like, if you pulled deltas up and, like, looked at them like a chart, you can see how, like, this area is support, right? Like, the sellers have had trouble getting any serious breakdown continuation intraday, right? On an intraday basis. So right here, the sellers failed to get a continuation move like this. And look how heavy the selling pressure was on that day, right? Boom, boom, boom. That's continuation. But every other time that the sellers have been in control, they just could not really get anything going. Set in lows at support right in here. Set in lows at support right here. At least in here, they did get that lower move on the next day. But even then, that ended up being a buying op. Same thing here, just no real sell side pressure here as well, here as well. At least today, right now, you're starting to see heavier bearish pressure. So to try to come in here and scoop up Bitcoin right now, after an obvious 200-day retest and fail, would not be very prudent positioning. No. We were anticipating a pullback. That's why we're short Fartcoin. Anticipating a pullback from the 200-day retest. We knew people would take profits. We knew new sellers would jump on it. And now those sellers are showing up in deltas even. Not really a prudent place to look for longs. You're going to need a deeper retracement, in my opinion, for the bulls to step back up again. That could be as low as strategy's cost basis. I don't want it to be, but it could be. The daily 21 comes in higher at May's open. So we would definitely want to see this area act as support. So this was where my first area to be a buyer again will be. But that doesn't mean that I want to be looking for shorts on Bitcoin because I have this as an area to look to be a buyer. I'll just take it day by day and look for my technical setups that I look for each and every day. I just don't, for me, there's no trade here on Bitcoin. I'd rather be short a meaningless garbage token or something like that. This Bitcoin is barely moving. It isn't even down 2%. So it is almost now. If you shorted the open today up here, you're almost to take profit target. That's not enough to get me to buy it. I probably wouldn't. I would probably sit on my hands on Bitcoin for the next few days. You're at the end of the week. Next week, you're gonna get a new open, and we'll have more data. We'll know what happened with NFP. We'll just have more data. We'll have better stuff to take make decisions on. The daily, which is overbought, the daily RSI, it hit overbought up here. Let that thing pull back a little bit. Maybe, maybe it holds at 50. Maybe it holds at 60. I don't know. But I would rather be a buyer at 50 and if it can hold. So let momentum pull back. Let things chill out a little bit. I promise when I see a buying opportunity on Bitcoin, I will alert you. You're in the Discord, so you'll know the next time that I'm looking for longs on Bitcoin. Yeah. And in the meantime, we'll find something though. I mean, Tesla just there wasn't anything to do on Tesla today. But over here would have definitely, because it failed to break down here, we should have been all over that. But we weren't. I didn't see it. We were all over Nvidia yesterday. We caught Nvidia. We literally freaking bought the day low, and look where it is today. Like, booyah, right? We're essentially catching the fart coin short. It just hasn't made a fresh day low yet, but it could. We're starting to see that delta pressure show up. Farcoin could end up being a really nice trade today. Those are the trades I wish you would partake in. Like, if you're going to partake, and if you're looking for a trade every day, try to trade at least things that I'm mentioning or looking at or positioning in myself. They're not always going to work. For instance, coin. It still hasn't worked yet. It's still doing nothing. It could later on today. So if you're short Coinbase, I closed mine because it hasn't done what I wanted it to do. So my edge is gone. I don't have an edge on this. It could still work out for you. If you're short, you don't have to close it. You can keep it open. Maybe it does work out. Maybe you get super lucky and they report a massive decline on earnings and you just puke at earnings. Chances are, if it stays in today's range all day, you're going to wick out both sides of the market. They're reporting earnings today at the end of the bell. End of the day. But I didn't see anything. Let's go over here. Let's look at this. Let's go over here. I don't have all of the stocks that we can trade on weeks on this watch list, but I have a lot of them. Here, let me see how many they have. Let's go up here. Let's see how many they have here. So we're in TradFi. Let's go to stocks. We've got Coinbase, check. Apple, check. Nvidia, check. MicroStrategy, check. Tesla, check. Amazon, check. Oracle, check. Palantir, check. FUTU, check. Reddit, check. JD.com, check. I don't know what DFD is. Only 35,000 contracts traded. I wouldn't be interested in trading that. Meta, check. Google, check. Spy, check. Hood, check. Q's, check. I'm just trying to see if I have them all. And if I do, we'll go chart them and see if there's a setup. Microsoft, yes. Circle of Course, TSM. Yep. A lot of people trading TSM. Walmart. Yeah. Costco. Yeah. XCU, I think that's copper. No, I don't know what XCU is. Silver. SLV, I trade silver. I don't need to trade SLV. I don't need to trade the triple Qs. or the whatever that is. TQQQ. That's inverse, right? That's a levered up inverse thing. EWY. Alright, I don't have EWY. I don't know what EWY even is. EWY is an ETF. A South Korea ETF. It's doing great. I don't have that one. BMNR. So there's a lot of these that that I have to add. Holy shiznit. Look at MU. Almost 1 million traded. I know MU's been on fire lately. You can even trade a decent position size on MU. So let me add MU. Not going to add the ones that don't have large contract size. Rocket Labs. I thought I had Rocket Labs. That's big enough for me. LMT also. Okay, so we can add all these. LMT. Lockheed Martin. We want to add RKLB. Rocket Labs. Is all these stocks I'll trade. All of them. If there's a technical setup, we will trade it. I don't know what that is, but 40,000, don't care. CRWB. Core Weave. I don't know what STX stock is. What is that? Oil? Nat gas. I'm not trading nat gas. Nat gas literally destroys people. There's only 7,000 contract. What is BZ? Brent last day futures? I already got Brent futures and US futures. Right here is US oil, CLUSD. So let's put that on there. We do have CLUSDT dot P. I want to pull that up real quick to see if I can trade more contracts on this than we can on the other oil. Why didn't it? There we go. Yeah, 100. So that's CL perps. That's crude oil. That's the U.S. crude oil market. But so is this, XTI. That follows the U.S. crude oil market as well. We got 91.57 on CL. Why is this taking so long? 91.18 here, but this is what I want to look at, parameters. See how I can only trade 40 contracts? This is why I haven't been trading U.S. oil. 40 contracts is nothing. That's like a $100 position size. You would need a 5-day move in order to take a $300 profit on that, even with 20x leverage. And I'm not going over 20x. That's literally the max on some of these things. So that means we're paying zero fees right now, but once the zero fee thing is up, if 20x is max, you're going to pay a shitload in fees. That's how they're going to get you. All right, but let's go back to stocks real quick and just make sure we got the majority of them. The ones that we care about anyway. Where were we? Open AI. You got to be shitting me. It's not even publicly traded yet. Doesn't seem to matter. Look at this thing. Oh, 5 contracts? Forget that. Yeah, I looked Anduril, Polymarket. These are all cow sheet. These are all stuff that is not even trading yet. All right, anyway, since this is so slow, let's go back down here. Let's pull a couple of these up. So let's look at MU. MU's on fire, super bullish. I don't see any reason to look for shorts on this. All right, so where's the day open? Right there. So that's a 5% move to day high. So there is potential scalpable opportunities in this for sure. Shorts are getting wrecked. Lockheed Martin is a sell. Yeah, if Lockheed Martin, I don't know why I keep saying Lockheed Martin can stay under 527.66, I would be willing to short that. That's not a trade today. It's been pretty much sideways here, not doing anything. So we got to go intraday and see if it's even moving enough to even look for trades on. Barely. So this one's not a huge mover. The bigger movers are going to be the ones that we're going to pay more attention to. Rocket Labs is a mover. That's 4.5% move to the downside. And that's pretty much what it did yesterday. 5%. Almost 5%. 3.4. 5%. Yeah, so Rocket Labs is gonna be one we can watch. All right, let's get a quick analysis going on this. They've got earnings after the bell. Yep, they've got earnings after the bell. Daily looks good for longs. Yeah, I don't like that it lost this, but I'm not bearish on it. That's for sure. Oh, right here. So there's plenty of things that we can keep our eyes on. Oh, that's wrong. Plenty of things that we can keep our eyes on. So it's still very bullish on the near term. Looking like a rejection so far. This candle's going to close today, though. So depending on how this thing closes, that would look like a rejection, a support test, and hold. So right here was the open expansion. Yeah, this would be a buyable opportunity. They've got earnings after the bell. So it's not really something that I'm loving. The idea of buying. Got heavy bearish deltas. Oof, man, look how big that range was. That would have been a nice day. Yeah, this one will be fun to trade. This one has a lot of moving. Okie dokie. Yeah, we'll keep an eye on it. 4 hour on Bitcoin looks nasty. Can you look at Riot on the daily? Yeah, let me look at the 4 hour first on Bitcoin. Looking nasty. It's a continuation candle for sure. It's well broken support. So the bears are definitely in control of price today. And it makes sense given the news that we got. Thanks to Michael Saylor. Makes sense. And then can you look at Riot on the daily? Yep. You can only trade 50 Rocket Lab contracts. Son of a bitch. Okay. Yeah, it's looking fine here. It's trying to break out of a longer term range. It's very overbought. Yeah, I mean, this is a huge, huge level. It's already liquidated it. Boom. So what it does moving on will be super important. It's potentially trying to squeeze shorts. It's trying to squeeze shorts right now. I mean, if you're long, I wouldn't do anything here. There is a massive gap just under price to fill. Chances are, if it stays under yesterday's high, sellers are going to be interested in it. Are going to be wary, obviously, because it's right now potentially squeezing. It's funny, they got bad earnings. Well, oh yeah. Revenue was good, but earnings were terrible. And it rallied hard. Bitcoin is rolling over today. Kind of feels like Riot probably might be done. It doesn't trade very good. I mean, it's a 4% move. It has been trading. Look at this sideways garbage there. This almost feels like something else has happened. This is why right here. You've got a bullish catalyst right there. So I wouldn't be selling it. Not with a bullish catalyst. Riot platform goes nuclear. Stock explodes to 4-year highs after sealing a deal for molten salt AI power plants. Yeah, that Riot to build co-located nuclear plants data centers. That could be a good business. Providing energy to data centers, not bad. So they're pivoting to AI as well. So is Mara. I never want to try to short an asset that has bullish price action as well as a bullish news catalyst. Not really my cup of tea. So I don't really see anything to do here. If you own it like much cheaper, good job. And just hold on to it. My question would be, how are you going to feel if it drops back down to $20? Because at a bare minimum, that's the midpoint from where this low is to that high. Right? Roughly right in here. So it could pull back all the way to 1962. How will your portfolio look if it does that? Will it be fine? Will you be okay with it? If so, I wouldn't do anything here. Except maybe if it pulls back and holds that higher low support, look to be adding to the position or whatever. It is trying to break out today. It's failing right now. Let's see what we look like on volume. Very light volume today too, which is odd. Not very light, but definitely way lighter than what happened yesterday. It fits. It's about the norm at this time. Had a lot of a lot of volume on this day as well. So here's what I would say, because there's not like massive amounts of volume, I would be very, very iffy about shorting it. And I definitely ain't going to buy it. I don't buy highs. I buy low, sell high. Yeah, volume is extremely light today. So it's literally liquidated yesterday's high and 4-year highs today on light volume. If you start to see heavy sell side deltas show up today, this thing's probably going to pull back. But I'm not seeing big bullish pressure or big selling pressure either way, which makes it a very, very risky short. Because all you need is for buying volume to show up, and this thing could literally go on a squeeze. Let's go to Riot. Right here. Let me see what their short float looks like. It's only 15%, so it's not a huge short float. Yeah, I mean, it feels like people are waiting to see what happens with it. It could break, it could pull back. I'd say if it pulls back to like 1950. Then I would want to see what happens after that. So Fartcoin refusing to put in that fresh day low and pulling back kind of hard. We've been waiting on that fresh day low for a minute, and it just can't do it for whatever reason. Bitcoin has put in fresh day lows after fresh day low after fresh day low. Yeah. I'm not going to close the Farcoin short. I'm up 250. I need a continuation move lower in order to get out of this. So if it does break down, this will be where I take profits. If it makes a fresh day low. We've got deltas on our side here. What did Pingu do? Pingu also rolled over, but it did make fresh day lows. Not a huge move lower though. So it could be a bigger move. Pingu looks better for downside continuation here. Oof, it doesn't look great on the weekly. To be honest with you, it could find support right here. I never like to buy old resistance as prior, or old resistance, hoping it turns to new support. I don't really have a level to watch here, but I mean, you can see this is your day. When this candle closes, that's going to be your entire day. It made a low and then that was it. It's bouncing. So I could potentially... Nah, I can't do anything. It's too late in the day. There ain't much to do here. I'm short Farcoin. We'll see what happens with it. We've got good deltas and the POC looks okay. But it's a small range day. It's a small range day after two pretty huge bullish days. So it kind of feels like people are buying the dip, looking for a higher move. The only reason that I'm not closing the short is because Bitcoin is still heading lower. But that's not enough. So Farcoin's going to have to make a move for me soon, or I'm just probably going to bail on it, take my money and run. And I don't see anything else that I want to participate in, not right here, right now. S&P 500 just absolutely tearing ass to the upside. Look at this thing go, man. Gosh, retail was on the wrong side of this thing, weren't they? And we're long NVIDIA. We're going to continue to hold it long. If you could get a nice breakout on that, a measured move could put you up at about 228 longer term. Let's go look at the other big tech plays real fast, and then we'll wrap this up. Apple just made fresh all-time highs today. So we had the right idea being bullish on Apple a couple weeks ago. Fresh all-time highs. Look at you go. Let's go look at Microsoft. Microsoft is a buying opportunity for me, even though it doesn't, like, it's not in a, like, it's still a very strong bearish trend. Microsoft is in a very strong bearish trend still, but it looks like that downtrend is running out of steam. Yeah, I can't do anything with it today. Damn, though. It's into resistance here, and I don't care about 2025's yearly open. That's not what I'm mostly concerned with. It's going to be April's high. Yeah, if we could get above that and sustain a rally, that would be nice. I think this is going to be a buy soon because Google has already ripped. Missed that. NVIDIA is currently ripping. Apple has ripped. So all of your biggest plays here. Look at Amazon. That's another data center. AWS. So literally, the AI play is on and strong. Literally ripping to the upside. Fresh all-time highs on Apple, Nvidia, Amazon, Google. The only one that hasn't yet is Microsoft. Microsoft also owns a lot of cloud. So this is struggling, but I would suspect the breakout's coming soon. So I do want to partake in a bullish rally on Microsoft, and I will just as soon as I get a good setup. Just as soon as. Yesterday would have been the best day to participate in the bullish move on that. I'm just checking right now to see how many contracts I can trade, as this might be the next position that I put on some size. I can only buy 20 contracts on Microsoft. I'm going to send them an email today and see if they can bump that up to 500, 200, and see if they will. I'll say, please, can you do it for me? And I'll ask really nicely. I bet they will. I mean, you've got 105,000 contracts traded in a 24-hour period. The bulls are getting the funding, but if you can only get long 20 contracts, that's nothing. It's not enough to even trade. All right. You guys got any other questions? What's Saylor's news? Saylor said yesterday on an earnings call that they were going to potentially sell Bitcoin in order to make payments on their STRC interest. So all you have to do is click on your watch list on your Bitcoin chart and just pull this up right here. And right there, you'll see it. Michael Saylor says buy more Bitcoin than you can sell after MST. Oh, wait, that isn't it. Where is it? I don't see it. Right at the beginning of the stream, I checked that right there and it said it. But yeah, that's what he's doing. He said that on a conference call last night, so the internet went absolutely ape shit. Because Saylor said he would never sell. Now he is specifically talking about selling. It's so whatever. But that happened last night. I mean, it makes sense that we're seeing downside pressure today on Bitcoin because of that news alone. But it is ultimately just going to lead to a potential higher low, not a lower low. You guys that are extremely bearish, what you need to watch is volatility. You don't have to watch the VIX. Bitcoin has a few of its own volatility metrics. There are a couple of them. Oh, that's currency future. I want crypto stuff. So you've got BVol, which is a 24-hour. This one isn't the best one. But you definitely want to see this thing start to spike again. It's funny that it spiked on Tuesday on Bitcoin, and literally Bitcoin was not bearish on Tuesday. So maybe that one isn't a very good one. You need to see volatility expand in order for your shorts to pay out. Or a dollar move back to the upside. And then you could potentially see that. The dollar is literally refusing to roll over today, but we got non-farm payrolls tomorrow morning. So the dollar is just going to potentially trade choppy all day. Unless something's happening right now. You are seeing oil spike here off the lows. So see what I mean about shorting day lows on oil? I'm glad you didn't take that trade. You'd be getting stopped out right about now. Yeah, you can't sell the lows, guys. You got to sell resistance levels when resistance levels hold. But you're seeing a little bit of a spike on oil off the lows. That's causing the DXY to spike off the lows as well. It literally hasn't done anything for hours. The dollar has just been chopping sideways right at this trend line. It's get the F out of here. March's open is also down here. Big levels of support to contend with. So we're just waiting to see what happens. I have dollar short positions on. I would love to see the sellers show back up eventually. But we'll see. All right. You guys have a fantastic rest of your... Oh, looking at IGV/SOX. Do you see a rotation out of semis back into software? So IGV, it's IVG, isn't it? Not IGV. No, it's IGV. Okay. No, I'm not seeing a rotation. So SOX is beating the brakes off of software. So the way this chart works is IGV is the first one in that ticker. So for you to be able to say there is a rotation out of semis back into software, this chart would literally be needing to go up. It is literally going down. I wouldn't even be looking at indicators on this because this is not a traded asset. So there is no momentum on it, really. I mean, there is, but it's only on the tick on the candles. There's nobody's like looking at this saying, "I need to buy this right now." You're in free fall essentially. I mean, why would this week be any different than last week? The week prior to that, the week prior to that, the week prior to that. You get what I'm saying, right? So are you looking at this thinking that this would be a buy? That it is not. I mean, even if it bounces and goes up a little bit, it's using probabilities as a risk curve. The probabilities are that this continues to go lower. It looks rough. Now, IGV doesn't look that bad. It did bounce, right? It is bouncing right now. But the reason that is still going down is because, dude, like, these things are on a tear. This is a short squeeze, obviously. This is a short squeeze, obviously. Short squeezes potentially will end. There will be most likely a pullback at some point. But how are you going to time it? You're at all-time highs. You've been overbought since April. You hit overbought right here when you broke out. So, I mean, how are you going to time that? You're going to lose money on the high, lose money on the high, lose money on the high, lose money on the high. That can continue. I know other people are looking at this, like this guy, for instance. Where's he at? Where's he at? Where's he at? Maybe I can find him over here quicker. I don't even remember his name. I just remember what is. Nope. Okay. Like, calling for a short on this. Yeah, I'm not gonna be able to find it, but he's got like multiple millions, or 1.5 million, 2 million followers on X, and he's literally calling for a short on it. You're gonna get wrecked if you try to short this. There's no sell signal on this thing. There's bearish divergence on the 8-hour, but damn, like, you're just gonna lose money, lose money, lose money, lose money, lose money, lose money. Eventually, it will top out. Wait for it to show you that first. And then maybe try to scalp some momentum to the downside. But if this isn't a short squeeze, if this is legit demand, this could continue to move like this for weeks and weeks and weeks. Be careful. I'm not seeing a rotation out of semiconductors into software like you asked. No. No, sir. Not even close. Not yet. Maybe in the future, but why? I mean, I don't see why. Some software companies are probably going to do good. Others are not. Others are going to fail. There are probably software tickers on your watch list that are going to go bankrupt. Unfortunately, we've already seen it with Chegg. Chegg is the first one. It is the first one to suffer from the IAI. Look at that thing. There are other software companies that will look like this in the future. The problem is we don't know which ones yet. Adobe is in deep trouble. Adobe needs to really be doing some research and development here. Do you realize how bad your stock has to do to test the 200-month exponential moving average? Like, when was the last time Adobe tested a 200-month exponential moving average? 2011? This is not good for Adobe. That means you literally lost all of the buying signals. Look how many times you've hit overbought or oversold on the weekly time frame. Usually an oversold reading on a weekly time frame is like butter in a bull market. You know what I'm saying? When you have assets that are bullish, you're buying a bullish asset. That first oversold reading, you're going to be a buyer. That ended up being a dead cat bounce, and you made fresh lows, and then another small bounce. It's like sellers are eating Adobe's lunch right now. Adobe's still $258 per share. Adobe is a huge software company. I can remember holding phones before they were smart, and you would turn that thing on, and the first thing that would come on would be an Adobe screen. Like, yeah, like they used to be huge. They still are a huge company, but they've got to pivot. They're going to have to do some research and development. They're going to have to figure something out. Otherwise, this is just going to continue. Because 90% of their software that they sell as a subscription service can be done for way cheaper on AI. Not good. So some software companies that you probably own, like if you own several software companies in a long only portfolio, there are some of them that could potentially fail in the future, especially if they don't own a lot of cloud space, cloud storage, or anything like that. Like if they're specifically software as a service only, and it's software that can be literally written on AI, they're done until they pivot. They're going to be in trouble. So be careful with software right now. Be careful. You guys have a fantastic rest of your day. Make sure you guys trade safe, trade smart, and as always, happy trading, everybody.